I'd like to see the Boon talk resolved so that we can move forward in the sense of comprehension on it. I mean, that's why we're talking about it, is because there's confusion, right? When something happens to a friend, we want to know what happened, because that's for helping the brothers and sisters. We share
That's
the
right.
experiences as transparently as possible.
If one of us went through it, see, this is that like learning the hard way versus the easy way we talked about. Okay, maybe some people do have to learn the hard way, but here we are in the same group with the guy who just learned the hard way. We can look at that and go, well, that's really hard. Maybe we can learn from it right there. You see what I'm saying? But the guy who went through it is like, nah, let's not talk about it. I don't want to mention it. It ain't got nothing to do with court. It's all about God. God wanted me to do this. God wanted me to suffer. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm going to look at this through a worldview lens instead of any type of court study. Well, that's just so weird, because the whole reason I got interested in the brother is because I thought he was doing a court study. If I'd have known it was all philosophy, I'm unsure if I would have been as interested. Um, uh, maybe I would have. Maybe I would have. I still feel like I needed it and love hearing it. But as it pertains to court, it's definitely not a court study, is all I'm saying. Every church, okay, has this similarity that I noticed that Brother Boone's doing. And the similarity is picking a few scriptures and a few stories in the Bible that happen to match up with a worldview, okay, a philosophy, if you will, the way you think or want to think. You tend to pick up a few verses and a few stories, and you skew it in a way that it backs up everything you're saying. Okay, I've seen this across lots of religions. I've seen this across lots of churches, lots of interpretations. I've seen this all the life, okay? And the reason I'm saying that is he could be looking at it correctly, but let's just analyze it. Is he looking at it correctly? And the reason I'm saying that is there's lots of stuff on Jesus in there, okay? Obviously. And the point is, if one looks at the Bible, when Jesus went to court, he was going there to lose on purpose. Okay, he was going there to get killed, to be the so-called sacrificial lamb. We can avoid anything about the Bible, but the point is, in the book, he went to court to lose, to die. Okay, so I'm unsure if that could ever be looked at as a court example. However, if we keep looking at the Bible instead of only trying to look at the same scriptures and twist it to fit our interpretation, there are other verses where Jesus does talk about results. Jesus does talk about checking the source. Jesus does talk about how to question evidence, bro. How to question false claims against one. There are great suggestions from the man himself, how to question things in court, how to be effective in court. But when he went to court, he went to lose on purpose, because he was so called. You remember Boone said the word fulfillment? Well, Jesus was allegedly fulfilling something in the scripture. So the death had to fulfill something. Okay, it's a story. It might be an allegory. What if it's not even a real story and it's a fucking allegory that has deeper meaning? Who knows? But the point is, even the book itself is never advocating to do what he's saying do in court. And the reason why that's important is because instead of just looking at a few, see, I know most brothers and most sisters have only heard what they've been passed in the book. They don't even read the book. They don't even know what the rest of the book says, except their favorite few fucking passages and favorite few verses and favorite few stories. And they use that to form how they believe in the world. But if you read the rest of the book, it might make a whole lot more sense. It might show you a whole lot more things. It got nothing to do with worshiping or being in a church. But the point is, I'm just saying he's doing the same thing. To me, it looks like he's doing the same thing. He's picking and choosing certain verses and saying it fits a certain thing. Okay, because possession, let me be very specific real quick, and I'll wrap it up. When he's saying possession, the whole thing is the possessors. Okay, cool. There is a verse that says that. Beautiful. If we're talking about possession of everything in the world, man's soul, man's body, absolutely possession based, we can say we own none of it, or we could say, how can we own any of it? Okay, awesome. 100% there. But when we start talking about Jesus, so now we're jumping from the possessor to Jesus, okay? Two different beings in the book, the same but different somehow. But the point is, it's a different character, it's a different name. I thought we were talking about everything as the possessors. So how are we jumping? Because this is the Old Testament. Then we jump all the way to the New Testament, okay, at the end of Jesus' life. And so we're taking Genesis, early Genesis, one little tidbit, and then we're taking a place from the Gospels, a little tidbit, and we're leaving out everything in the middle and everything before and after, and we're only saying that is how we should do it because this thing mentions possession, the law mentions possession. Here it is. I found possession, and then another being came to represent this being who mentions possession, and so I guess he's who we should follow. And since the book says he went to court, obviously that's got to be our example to follow. But literally, the dude in the book was like, dude, I only speak for those with ears to hear and eyes to see. And this book is meant for people to misinterpret it. This book is meant for people to twist it and take it topically. This literally, the start of the book says this, bro. So I'm just saying, when I see people only point, because I brought up Jesus's other verses and other scriptures and things he says about results, and it's just, oh, no, that part doesn't fit the ideology and the description. So that's what I'm really noticing. That's why I brought up the similarities of that, because like there's actually almost no consideration of anything outside of the belief system. Okay, and this is probably as harsh and as clear. I would say the same thing to the brother. You hear how I talk. You know I do. I know I would. We'll probably end up sharing this. No problem. But this is probably as clear of a breakdown as I could see it, because I've seen people do this so many times. You know what I mean? It's not my first rodeo with somebody who's quoting scripture, bro. You know what I mean? Like, just like with the laws and the police and the court, why would I, like, if somebody's quoting something, I'm gonna check the source. Okay, well, in the source, that motherfucker died and got tortured and shit. What that, bro, I ain't even gotta be that bright to look at that and go, well, that can't be an example. If we're trying to be effective, now if we're trying to fucking die, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go into court and you say I am. Okay, and they're gonna fucking string me up on a tree. Why would I try that? How's that an example? So that's what I'm saying, bro. It seems like a twisting of religious undertone and a noticing of the words and terms that seem possessive, and then mixing that together to explain a lot of stuff. That's kind of what I'm seeing. I'm looking at the foundation. That's what he keeps quoting that to, what he keeps bringing up. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm asking him about why he believes that. And it's just how it is. Well, you know what I mean? Like anything I bring up, just like almost overlooked, almost like, it's like he's trying to look now, but honestly, bro, it seems like there's an ironclad belief system. And that's kind of what I think I'm noticing. And maybe it's based off of some part of reality. There are things in it that make a lot of sense and are beautiful, but trying to tie it all together with court, that's where it stops short for me.
It's impossible for it to be about possession.
It's impossible for it to be about possession. It's impossible for it to be about possession.